we still have to make the money move, do we not? Okay, thank you. So when it says in kind, I'm not really sure what that means, and that's why I'm a little confused on what they're looking for. Now, what we could do is we could put this to the side with asking for more information. It doesn't have to be done today. So I would just wonder if I'm a little confused on what they're looking for here. Councillor Charney?
Well, they did not show the other night to go into detail about their program. Type of funding requested is financial aid, and then in two other spots they put in kind, or at least one other spot they put in kind, and I didn't understand the difference between the financial request and then an in kind. So I'm not too sure what they're asking for, whether it is in kind or financial.
Councillor Regan?
Yeah, I'm thinking they might be a little bit confused on the definition of in kind versus financial.
So do we want to give them the 1,000 and be done with it, or do we want to ask for more information? Because to be 100% honest with you, we're not going to go much past 1,000. So
I feel like they have provided some information, so I agree with Councillor Egan. So I think they are confusing what they were to request the financial. So we should just support the 1,000 and move forward.
Okay.
So we will move to the 1,000 for Country Run. Thank you. Moving on, Nicola Valley Community Band. Their request is for 2,000. The band gets used a lot. They're everywhere. It's a good thing to have. But I'm more than happy to move it at 1,000. If anybody, Councillor Egan?
Yeah, I've read through their application, and they said that they wanted to buy music and perhaps. Oh, and then they have an honorarium that they give to their conductor of $2,200, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But unfortunately, those are costs that we should not be covering.
Yeah, I agree. So I agree. I've suggested 1,000 as well.
We're okay on that?
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So they are requesting 42% of their total budget. That's high that we cannot afford. So the 1,000 would be recommended as well.
Okay, thank you. Moving forward. Rotary District 5060 Youth Exchange. They're asking for 1,500. Again, I've read it all and everything else like that, and this has been in merit for a number of years. I think it's a well-worth program. Do we want to knock it back to 1,000 or give them the 1,500? I'm curious on what we would like to do here. The Rotary Youth Exchange, Councillor Charney?
I have conflicted. I mean, the Rotary has really helped out our community during the flood, and I know we're trying to stick to this 1,000. I also know that no merit students are directly involved. They're trying to get some students involved. So
just so you know, the 1,000 isn't written in stone.
Yeah.
It's where we would like to keep it. But if we think something is well worth to go to the 1,500 and give them what they're asking for, we can do that. Or we can keep it at 1,000. It's totally up to you guys.
This is an offshoot of the Rotary Club, and as I said, I think that they have done a tremendous job supporting this community, and I wouldn't have an issue of going to the 1,500 for this group.
Okay. Anybody else have an issue with the 15? Councillor Richard.
I think it's, you know, if you're giving 1,000 for educational pieces and stuff, and with our limited funds, I think the 1,000 wouldn't be unreasonable, because the Friends of the Library, which is well used by Merit residents, we gave 1,000 to. I don't know how everybody else feels. I don't know if they have other funding sources right now. I'd have to look at it again, but I don't think 1,000 is unreasonable.
I don't either.
Just because Councillor Charney did mention that there's no merit students, but that doesn't mean that next year, the year after, there wouldn't be merit students. I don't know.
It's a possibility.
I think 1,000 is a reasonable number.
Councillor Regan?
I would tend to agree. I think 1,000 is pretty good right now, and I think they could probably get some donations from the businesses in terms of supplying meals or groceries or that kind of thing to make up the other 500.
Councillor Charney? Oh. So 1,000 is it? Thank you very much. Moving on, Merit District Chamber of Commerce, not for profit. yes, and no to the permissive tax exemption. They're looking for $7,500, which we've already let them know that's not going to be happening. So I guess the next thing is what amount would we want to move here where it would make some sense that they could use it? 1,000 might be a little light for this one.
Yeah, when we talk about the Chamber of Commerce, it's a unique situation that they have gone through, right? So they are applying for some financial support here. We need to take in consideration what they do. All the people benefited not only within the community, also trying to attract people from outside the community. The 1,000 is not going to be enough. So I also have to take in consideration all the other applications that they have put forward. So I would like to go with at least with 3,000.
3? Any other comments on that? Where would that put us, Kevin?
I'm keeping track as we go. I'll let you know if at some point we go over and we need to backtrack to preliminary decisions.
And just so you know, Kevin, I think council would like to leave around 5,000 in this account to cover what might be coming for the year.
Certainly.
And if there's no opposition to 3,000, then I'm more than happy to support the 3,000. It's for the chamber. Yep. They are. I have to admit, they are trying.
Chamber, they're really trying to pivot in whatever way that they can. Last year they had committed to so many programs, so they really, I think this year they're being cautious. When they had a presentation, Mrs. Honer had presented and even emailed us and copied us and saying they may have to, realign some of their programs, and they're being realistic. Costs attached to it, like insurance and other events. So, yeah.
I just want to add that I hope they understand that if we had the money, we would provide the 7,500 that they are requesting to do the work that they have put together because of the limited budget. So that's why the 3,000 recommendation came forward.
Councillor Egan is their liaison, and we had a meeting, and I think I sat in just to update them, but Councillor Egan has been quite clear that the 7,500 would be there if it was available. So 3,000 it is then. Merritt District Hospice Society. So just so you know on this one as well, I will be talking to Carol Fulcher about also making a co-application to TNRD, because there's groups that, TNRD people will be using this as well. So they've got something in for 1,500. I don't know if anybody's been up to the new room that they've got and how good it looks and the service that's being offered. They do have the Death Cafe and several other things. They will be helping us with the wind phone once the cemetery upgrade is done. Council Hogan?
So I just want to mention that they have received support in 2022 and 2023. They are requesting the 1,500. That represents 40% of their total budget. So I would like to stick to the 1,000 for them.
That's where I'm at. Any opposition? 1,000 it is. And we do appreciate the work that goes on up there.
Correct.
Yes. I do want to commend a lot of these people for giving us the financials as deeply as they have. That's been a rarity. So up next, Merritt Breadbasket Soup Bowl Society. They are not-for-profit, and they do not get a tax exemption. And they are asking for $2,400. Now, over the years, we have supported the Breadbasket quite well with stoves and fridges and commercial. So, again, but they do give us a good service in the community. Councillor Egan.
Yeah, I would like to stay with the $1,000 on that one as well, just because they're going to be replacing older worn items and upgrading equipment to commercial grade, and that's not cheap. They're dealing with more and more and more people every week, as they informed us at their presentation.
So you want to take the 24 down to 1,000?
Yes,
Would you consider 1,500?
I would consider that, sure.
Because at least that 1,000 may not, for the work they do. And again, just so we're completely understanding, we are going through a tough budgetary time. And we have to, we still are giving out money, but we have to be careful what we do with it. So if there's no opposition to 1,500, then I would like to move in the direction of 1,500. Excellent. Merritt Country Christmas, not for profit, and they do not receive a permissive tax exemption. So this has quickly become one of the largest night parades and events all week long in Western Canada. It's well attended. I don't know what the dollar sign is at the end of it for locals. They're asking for 45. That's simply something we cannot meet. So where would we like to go with this? Now, I do believe some of this, if I'm not, is in kind at the Civic Center. It's for the craft fair, I believe. So most of this is going to the craft fair, I think, which would be in kind.
Okay, I would suggest half.
Well, you want to go round number, go 2,000?
Yeah.
Manuel's breathing heavy. Hit your button. Hit your button, Manuel. Hit your button.
Sorry. So I'm just concerned because with my spreadsheet is moving the numbers, and I don't think that we will be able to help the other organizations if we go to with 2,000. So I was going to suggest 1,500. I understand, what they do for the community, how important it is, and how it puts us in the map. But 2,000, we may not have that.
So are we okay with going to 1,500 to visit this at the end? If we,
We can.
because there's going to
I
be,
would definitely like to revisit it.
How much is the in-kind amount for the rental of the space that we have? Because of
the
that
new
4,500, can we get
Last
that
year, they
from?
said 7,600
No.
in kind.
No, that's
that's
not
not
what,
correct. I think it's,
no,
Well, that's
just
the
for the
entire-
building.
for the entire place, I think it's $3,500, I think. For the whole, that's $500 a day for the auditorium.
Okay, but the whole city.
Yeah, so,
At the new rates.
Oh, I see, yes, but they're.
But they're a non-profit,
they're no problem.
so it's different.
It's, I mean, it's not $7,000. Not even
Would it be
close.
1,500? Because I'm,
Yeah, we'll have to look at that, but, are we okay with going to 1,500 and then possibly revisiting this at the end? Are
I
we
think
okay with that?
1,500 or 2,000, but yeah.
I would like to stay with 2,000, basically because it's Merritt's deal, and everybody gets involved, everybody loves it.
Yeah,
Actually, I agree with Councillor Egan.
yeah, let's go to
Honestly,
2,000 and come back and.
We get
revisit.
better press on our Christmas parade than Toronto, so go for the $2,000. Yeah.
And we are gonna, there's a couple things in here that, are gonna change, Manuel. There's some things here that are gonna change, so. We'll go with the 2,000 and we'll just put an asterisk beside it, Kevin, in case we have to come back to that. And I do appreciate everything that especially they do. Merritt Little Britches Rodeo Club, not for profit. They do not receive tax exemption. They are asking for 1,000. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't support. I know a lot of people use it. And again, this is another situation where I'll be asking or letting them know that they should also be tapping TNRD on the shoulder, because most of the kids that do this are from out of town. They're from the TNRD area. Councillor Charney, yeah.
They haven't provided a budget, so I'm really not too sure, where their money is coming from and how they're spending it. So no budget was provided.
Let me see what's next.
And they didn't send in a report at the end of last year
Okay.
either.
Good to know. Councillor Ogun.
Yep, I was going to mention the lack of the report at the end of the year.
Okay.
That's all.
Councillor Egan.
Okay, well, the one thing that they did do is they told us that they buy buckles, so that's what they're spending their money on, is the prizes and providing a good fun family event.
So I think, Councillor Etcher.
Oh, I just want to add to the Little Bridges too, is, before we had as much tourism, being that Merritt has a lot of farming and it's really supporting the outlying areas of what Merritt was, a lot of ranching in the community, and I think it's something to support. Even if they didn't have as much reporting, that's kind of where Merritt was known for Rodeo Weekend in the 70s and 80s especially. And before we had Mountain Fest, Merritt was a big rodeo community, so I think it's important to support them for their $1,000.
Our CFO?
I just want to make sure council's aware, under $1,500, we weren't requiring the full suite of application with budget and financial statements. So I followed up with applicants if
Good
they
to know.
didn't provide it based on whether they were under or over the 1,500.
Thank you very much. So we're okay with 1,000? Probably with a note, Kevin, that at the end of the year, we would like to see what it was actually used for if they apply again. So that's kind of one of the things but I'll also be talking to them about making co-applications to TNRD. Merritt Snowmobile Club, not for profit, and they do not receive a tax exemption. Now, last year we helped them out to the tune of $7,500 for a CCAN and the camera up at Honeymoon, which is not within the city limits. This is totally for me. I'm going to approve nothing because this is a TNRD request. This is not a City of Merritt request. So I would be more than happy to let them know that they need to move this to TNRD because $7,500 last year and they want another $4,000 this year, but it does not stay within our city limits. Who's first here? Councillor Egan.
I just wanted to know how many people are in the snowmobile club.
Don't know.
If they just say there's a large number of members. And have they already applied to the TNRD?
I doubt it. The thing that gets me is it says the purchase of 30 signposts and accompanying signs. That's, again, nothing that's going to be in the city limits. That's not going to benefit the community at all. So
I'm wondering also, could they get that donated?
hard to say.
Yeah.
Councillor Charney.
I see that last year they got 7,500, the year before they got 4,000, and they want 4,000 again, which is 28% of their budget. And as the mayor says, this is outside. I know people from Merritt go out into the hills, but it is not a downtown function directly in town. So I think that TNRD is more involved than we are.
Councillor Richard.
Well, I can appreciate your comments about Merritt residents that is not in town. Most of the people that are up in part of the Merritt Snowmobile Club would be Merritt residents.
I got that.
And a lot of people are supporting businesses in town after they come in from the hills. If people are visiting here and they're staying in town, they're eating in restaurants and they're staying in hotels. Some people are just from town and they're going out and using these things. It's mostly Merritt residents. I see the number of snowmobiles over the winter being registered and how many people that live in town have them. So while it's not a Merritt event or inside the city limits, it's a lot of people, your friends and neighbors that have these units that do that for recreational purpose. So maybe even if we didn't go the 1,000, I would consider even saying 500 because it's a lean year. I agree that it should go through the TNRD because it's a TNRD property, but I think even if we said, well, you got a lot more last year and our budget is tighter, I would suggest doing 500. Only because of the number of people that are part of the club. It's the same people who a lot of the same people who also enjoy playing baseball. You don't see a lot of negative comments from these people because they enjoy things and they use ball diamonds or they go snowmobiling. But I think we should a lesser amount, but I think we should do a small amount.
We also give TNRD X amount of dollars for our citizens using TNRD properties.
Mm-hmm. And
So
they've done contributions for
already-
other things like fire hall as well. And we need to maybe ask the TNRD for more, but I just think we should do a little bit, maybe not the 1,000, maybe even 500, just because of how many residents are actually snowmobile club members. But that's it.
So I guess it brings into the question, 4,000 one year, 7,500 the next. At what point in time do we stop being the engine to support their events?
Well,
there's got to be a limit on this at some point in time where somebody else can actually move into it.
Well, then you could say, if we'll give you $500,
Oh, I'm more than happy to give them 1,000, let them do something with that, but not the 4,000. But I think we need to let them know that their first stop next year is TNRD, not us.
Yes.
well, we could send that with a message. I just think that offering something would also be supportive of all the groups, just at a reduced amount.
Councilor,
I just want to mention that I agree with Councillor Echard. So I feel there is indirect impact from the trails. I feel like we need to support them. And to answer to your question, Mayor, so at what point we need to start doing that? Then we have to review the policy. We have to do changes to all these applications, to all these applicants. But at this point, I would like to support them even with 1,000.
Councillor Egan?
Sorry, I'm fine.
Councillor Etchart, you're still on. Do you have anything else?
No, I said my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. Okay, $1,000 it is. Let's move on that one. With a notification that they need to seek TNRD for next year. Not saying we won't help them next year either, but TNRD needs to be their first stop. Nicola Nordic Ski Club, kind of the same situation. I know a lot of people use it. It's not within the city limits. They are not for profit and they do not get a tax exemption. They're looking for 15. And this is mostly going to be for printed material by the looks of things. So we have amount request for 15. Again, first spot should be TNRD next year, so I'm willing to go 1,000 to help them out with this. If anybody,
I was going to say 750.
I think it'd be round, just to give them a round. We might as well go with round numbers. 1,000. At least they can do something with it. 750. What, it's whatever you guys want to do. I'm Councillor somebody. Oh, Councillor Petrosi.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Egan. 750.
Okay. Councillor Charney.
Now this one, they are requesting 1,500.
Mhm.
And they did get 1,500 before. So, but no budget was included. So,
Because they're under.
yeah, I know, but that's right on the line. But it is 43% of their budget. So I think that they have to start looking elsewhere also, TNRD, and I would support, 500.
So we've got, it's almost like an auction.
Yeah.
Councillor Etchart.
I would typically go with the amounts that were stated by others, but if you're going to give 1,000 to the Snowmobile Club, I would keep it similar and say, well, we went to the maxes that we could, and at least then it's showing that council's effort to go to the highest limits that we could, given our baby budget that we have this year, is we're trying to do the most that we can with our small pot of money.
Okay.
And then that's just, if you give 1,000 to the Snowmobile Club and 1,000 there, say we gave you each 1,000, and then we're not picking favorites. Because, it's a tough thing, but I think you should stick with 1,000 just to keep it.
Councillor Rogan.
Again, my question was answered already, so
Councillor Egan.
I disagree with going with 1,000 because they're only asking for 1,500. The Snowmobile Club asked for 4,000. I would like to keep 700. 50% of their budget that's pretty good. 750 is what they had asked for. I would like to keep the other 750. Maybe when we go back to reviewing these other $1,000 ones, we might be able to give that difference to them.
So it looks like 750 is it? Seems to be the popular vote. Nicola Valley Kennel Club, not for profit, did not receive a tax exemption. They are looking for 5,000. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Now, I don't know if you guys have attended this, but it is a big deal. They do have a lot of people that come to it. For myself, I've dropped my support to 1,500 because we do end up with close to 300 odd people here for 2 or 3 days. It's up at the rodeo grounds, which does give the rodeo a little bit of more look-see. And it's been well attended over the years. Councillor Etchart.
I think I had left mine on from earlier,
Okay.
but I think 1,500 seems reasonable given that it's a big draw of people. We can't go very high on any of these things, so it's kind of like the top limit of any amount that we can really give to anybody. So I think I would be in support of the 15.
Anyone else? Any comments? Councillor Egan?
I was going to say 1,000, but I'll go along with that because there's so many dog lovers in this town.
Sure. Oh, here we go.
So,
Councillor Hogan.
I would go with 1,000 again. So when we compare the benefit of what kind of impact it's having, we are giving 1,500 right now to the Merit Bread and Basket Soup Bowl. So when you compare the impact with one to the other, I feel there is a big gap there. There's a big difference. So I'm just seeing the bottom line right now. We go with 1,500. We won't have the 5,000 that you want to have as a contingency. I would like to go with 1,000.
So we have, Councillor Etchart.
Based on Councillor Ogin's comment, I think we should stick with the 1,500 and give the bread bowl basket the full 2,400 because they feed people all year. I agree. Hearing your point, I think we should really consider increasing that because they do a lot with donations. So if there's anything left, really, that's what we should do. Give 1,500 to the one and the 24 to the both. Because really,
We're not gonna have it in
well, it's good. The bread basket really does serve the whole community.
Is
and-
everybody okay with going to 1,000 and revisiting at the end? And if we have the ability to move on it, we will move on it. Okay, so everybody's okay with that? Let's do that. Nicola Valley Skating Club, not-for-profit, did not receive a tax exemption. This one's kind of hard because I know this is a fledgling group trying to restart after years of being shut down, and I really would have wished it was better times where we could give them the full 5, but we virtually cannot do that. And I know this has really started to grow and would like to continue to help with that. But for me, I've got them down as 1,000 with the ability to possibly look for another 500 at the end of this if we're able to move that way. Would really love to give them the full 5, but we just cannot this year. So if there's any opposition to that or any comments. Okay, so again, Kevin, we'll go to 1,000 and if we can look at maybe at the end. Pardon me? Yes, please. Because they're really trying hard. They really are. And, you know, they've had to put up with a cost that they didn't realize was going to be so high, unfortunately. And it is for the safety of the kids when they're trying to learn how to fly on the ice. So. Nicola Valley Community Arts Council. They haven't marked down where they're not for profit, but they do get permissive tax exemption. So that's one thing to take into consideration. They do get permissive tax exemption. Now this is for the use of the art trailer, which did come in very handy for events last year at July 1st and Airport Appreciation Day. The trailer really does seem to have some gusto with it. The people that run it are very well at what they do. They've got the communities involved. They want $2,500. But remember, they do get a tax exemption, just so you're aware. So take that into consideration. And if we give them anything, now that's a double dip situation, just so we're aware. So I will leave it to council. Councillor Chern.
I like to go to the every event they have. I think it's well attended, but I also look back in history. Over the last 5 years, they've received $28,600 in financial aid from the city. So, you know, we have well supported them. The last 2 years, they've got $2,500 each. I would go down to the 1,000 and go from there.
Councillor Egan?
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we'll go. And again, do appreciate everything they do, but the tax exemption does make a difference. Nicola Valley Evangelical Free Church. They are not for profit, and do you receive a tax exemption? Yes. Reading this, one of the things that really is kind of a death knell for me is at the very bottom line where you read nearly $4,100 towards the local food bank. Don't ask a community for money if you're going to make a donation in your name from the money that you're getting from the people that are giving it to you. Because if that's the case, then we'll make the donation to the food bank under the City of Merritt. So that's one thing that really is probably a bad thing to put in your recommendation. And again, for myself, I have to wonder why we're supporting one church group in this town and not all the others. So it's something that I've wondered about for a while. Not trying to be rude here, but there are several other groups in the community as well that we're not sponsoring. And we've sponsored this for a number of years. I kind of remember addressing this when I was on council in 2017 and 2018. So we've addressed this for a while. Councillor Richard.
This program that they run is offered to all youth, and it doesn't really matter what faith you are. And so I know it's really popular with any young person that has an interest. Mm-hmm. And so for that reason, I think that's why council supported it in the past. And just to encourage groups to have stuff for youth, which there aren't enough. I think it's a good thing, even if I don't attend that church. I don't think that I'd have an issue even with the lesser amount. If you said I wanted to offer $500, I understand we're not supporting other churches, but at the same time, I also want to put out a message that we'd like to encourage groups, churches to have youth groups and encourage positive activities and, you know, outside of recreation. I mean, just one more thing. I mean, if we could offer 500, I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but that's why we did it in the past. And even if we did a smaller amount, a third of what they're asking for, I don't think it would be unreasonable.
Councillor Egan.
It'd be fine with me. They had 75 kids that they were providing services for in the fall of last year. And yeah, I think I agree with Councillor Etchart.
Councillor Hogan.
Yeah, I would just want to mention that it's a great program. So there are a lot of people that I have known, and they have received, you know, good experience going through the program. I feel like that application is open to anyone. So if they wishes to, so if any organization wishes to submit an application, we are here to review it. So it's not only for one church or the other. So it's open for everyone. So, but again, so due to the budget, I would like to stick to 500.
500 it. 500 is it. Thank you. Moving on to the Girl Guides of Canada. They are not for profit and they do not receive a tax exemption. They're asking for $660.98. I don't see any reasons why we shouldn't move forward on that one. They're within what we were asking for. That was an easy one. Hopefully we'll get some cookies. Merit Centennials Hockey Club. Not for profit, and do you receive a permissive tax exemption in 2023? The answer is no, but they do. They are subsidized heavily by the city, just so you're aware of that. Now this looks like it's for the Icebreaker. Now last year we gave them 3,000, I believe, was it not? 3,500. So again, the Centennials have been in town for 52 years, part of the community. It's a well-attended event. They did actually make money off of it last year. And, but again, we do subsidize the team quite heavily. So in a way, they do get a tax exemption. So I'm just wondering where we would like to go with this. This would be a sponsorship for the Icebreaker. And we would not even be moving that until this almost this time next year. I mean, they have the Icebreaker, I think, in October. So it would be not until October of this year we'd have the Icebreaker. Councillor Petrosi.
Well, I'm throwing out 1,500. See what your thoughts are on 1,500. No?
Do we want to stay with 1,000?
I would like to stick to 1,000.
Okay. Okay. We'll, any opposition? 1,000 it is. It is money.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, it is money, but
They're not getting it direct.
no, it's money in, money out sort of thing. It's a sponsorship, if you want to call it that. It's basically buying our table at the event is what this is. So to a certain degree. No, that's not the way it's going to work. I mean, I'll buy my own. To be honest with you, Dana, I'll buy my own ticket to the next year because I mean they are struggling financially like anybody else. So. Merit Dance Society, not for profit, and receive a tax exemption, no. And again, I do believe this is a bit of an in-kind situation, but it's $787.50, which kind of falls underneath the guys. Anybody have an issue with the 78? Okay, we're on our way. Merit Otter Swim Club. Not for profit, they do not get a tax exemption. This is probably one of the biggest events we have. Oh,
I just want to let council know that we have crossed over the 25,000 at this point.
we have?
So
okay. Okay, so we got the Merit Otters. It's going to go fast. Okay, so now it's going to be one of two things. We either sit with what we've got now and be done with it, or we make some changes.
Can we continue continue and then say, okay, this is what we've got, and then pare it back.
Okay,
Because,
yep, let's do it.
okay.
Is that okay, Kevin? Okay. Okay, so we've got 1,400 for the Merit Auditors Invitational Swim Meet. Most of us were there last year to hand out the awards. You saw how many kids from how many groups were there.
Yeah, I would like to support the club for up to 1,000.
It's gonna get cut anyway.
But it's still
But we
money in,
still
money
have
out.
to
We
budget
still
it.
have to make that money move.
Okay.
Even though we own the facility, we still have to show that the money that we gave them was used. So it's actual money. It still has to work
Lack
through the
of
process.
rental money.
It is in kind, but we still have to show what we did with it. So that is 1,000. Okay. It's a really well attended event. Merit Volleyball Association. Not for profit, they do not get permissive tax exemption. And again, this is an in-kind deal. I do believe this is for their dinner at the end of this thing. Now, I noticed they have $1,387.50 times 2, so that's like $2,700. So we have supported this for a number of years. It does bring quite a few people to the community for the weekend, but I still think with this we have to sit at 1,000.
What I have a concern with on the Merit Volleyball is all of their profit they donate to different organizations. So we are giving them money and then they donate in their name and not our name.
Well, they don't know how much money. They don't know how much money they're getting yet until all the funds are in. So
Yeah, but I
I know,
have
but what
to,
I'm saying is if you want to, then you save that money, so next year you don't have to come and ask us for money.
see, I have to agree with Councillor Charney on that.
Yeah,
If
okay.
you're giving money away that you're getting from people, then those people should be giving the money themselves. Because it's really good to give somebody $3,000 and then they make a donation to the food bank for $3,000 in their name when the money actually came from the city. It's happened before.
yeah.
So if for me, I understand it brings people to our community. I would say 1,000, which would be 500 for each event, and that's the best I think we could possibly do at this point. Well, we're already over, but I mean, we'll see where this takes us.
Good God.
But again, probably would be a good idea not to hand your money away. Merit or Nicola Valley Farmers Market Association, not for profit, no tax exemption. So just so you know, we already supply the parking lot for them. And now I'm assuming this is an in-kind situation,
Yes,
is it
it
not?
is.
For the parking lot, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The $1,100 represents the parking lot fee.
That's what they were asking for. I did clarify that via email with them when I received the application.
So just a quick question here, Kevin. The in-kind stuff that we've done, can that be moved in a different way than grant and aid? Like, I mean, it's our facility, we own it. And I know we have to have money in, money out, but is there a way that the in-kind stuff can be dealt with differently than robbing from this fund? I'm just curious.
So council could revise their resolution regarding the budget for the year such that it's 25,000 for financial aid and X amount for in-kind.
Okay.
It would just require us to revisit the resolution that you've already passed.
Well, we would do that for something
Yeah.
for next year. We wouldn't do it for this year because you've been
So
too busy with budget as
we
it is.
certainly could look at setting budgets for the financial aid component and the in-kind component.
Because the way I look at it, we just simply say, yeah, go use the parking lot, right? We don't expecting anything from them. And same with the other in-kinds, use the building. But I do understand it's money in, money out. They're asking for 1,100, which is the parking lot.
1,100.
Okay.
To the
Yep,
all the people involved
it's well
in the
received.
market.
And again, I will talk to Lucas about making an application to the TNRD because a lot of the vendors that are there are from the TNRD area, so. You got a little blurb from the Rodeo Association. They're not really asking for anything this year, but I will almost guarantee they will be coming to us for support when the Rodeo Association gets closer. Last one is the Merit RCMP request for $1,162. It's for their regimental ball. Merit is quite lucky to actually have this here, and then this is going to be an in-kind situation as well. It's for the use of the Civic Center. So
I don't have a problem with that.
1162. But it's a big deal to have this here. We're gonna have RCMP from all over, North America here at this thing, so it's quite a big deal, so. So what does that leave us at, Kevin? We're kinda done with this. Shock us while you can.
So we've allocated 24,430. So effectively, we were wanting to keep a contingency of 5,000, which I had included when I said we were over. So at this point, we really have like a $570 contingency if we wanted to leave things
I guess
as
that's
is, or we need to backtrack and source that.
I think we'll leave it right where it is, and because this council has.
Does that include the 1,000 and the 1162 for the rodeo and the RCMP?
Yes,
That should-
I've added that in.
Okay.
I think that is frugal with our dollars. I think we've done what we need to do. Everybody gets something. That's what we kind of promised we would do. We gave them 500 each. Yep. So, is there any other concerns or questions on this? So that leaves us about $500. A tank of gas. Councillor Egan, do you have?
No, it's all right.
So if there's nothing else, then I will make the recommendation. Is there anything else you need from us, Kevin? Are we good? CO, do you need anything else from us? So the recommendation is that council review the 2024 grant and aid request in Schedule A and provide the type, amount, and payment timing for each approved application. I need a mover, Council Petrosi. Oh, hold on.
So the recommendation that you're moving is that the Committee of the Whole recommend to Council the following grant and aid requests for 2024 as follows. And then we've got a list of all of the ones that you've just gone through.
Yes.
So that's the recommendation
Okay,
that you're
that's the
removing.
recommendation. So, Councilor Petrosi, Councilor Ogan, any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. If Council, and maybe Linda, if you could stay around for 1 second after this, we've got to have a quick conversation.